The Democratic Party has become the U.S. Islamist Party, has become the facilitators for the Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamic Republic of Iran, you name it. That's not fair. I'm not care about being fair. I'm care about being right. I'm care about being correct. I'm trying to actually, it's not about fair. Let's not hurt anybody's feelings. What I'm concerned about is about justice. So I need you to see this here. I want to show you this clip. Caroline Glick, a friend and a colleague, several weeks ago, she did this particular story about what was going on in Israel as it pertains to UNRWA. Check this out.
After October 7th, the United States, along with a lot of other countries, announced that they were going to stop funding UNRWA. This was something that the Biden administration desperately didn't want to do. They give UNRWA close to $1 billion a year. They wanted to keep funding it, but they couldn't because, hello, it's a terrorist organization. But they
UNRWA is, again, for you don't know, it's an acronym for the United Nations Relief Works Agency for the Palestinian Refugees. It's the only UN body that is designated for only one group of refugees, which is the Palestinians.
They have since stated that they want to renew the funding regardless, and they've been taking concerted steps to block Israel from pushing UNRWA out of the business of distributing the.
And it's completely infiltrated by Hamas. It's just another UN body that facilitates for Hamas, gets money from Hamas, has Hamas employees. There's actually hostages that were found in UNRWA employees' homes and everything.
Humanitarian aid. Well, the Knesset finally had enough of this garbage. And Likud MKs, Yuli Edelstein and Boaz Bismuth put out this bill that called for making UNRWA illegal and making it them and barring them from operating in Israel. And guess what? On Tuesday, the bill passed the Knesset nearly unanimously out of 120 people. Nobody voted against it. And that's that. Bye-bye. Except what happened? The Biden-Harris administration, Tony Blinken's State Department, went bananas. Tony Blinken was here last week. He reportedly discussed the legislation with the prime minister. They signed this letter on October 13th where they threatened an arms embargo against Israel if Israel blocked humanitarian aid to Gaza. And they said, among other things, that passing the UNRWA law was going to undermine the distribution of humanitarian aid, indicating very clearly that if the Knesset dared to ban UNRWA from operating in Israel, that the United States was going to place a full embargo on arms sales, arms deliveries to Israel. What they're doing is actively protecting a terrorist organization.
What they're doing is actively protecting a terrorist organization. They are protecting Hamas from being thwarted by Israel. As soon as I saw Caroline's report on that, my mind went immediately during the Obama administration. Turn to your neighbor and say, bring back our girls. During the time of the rise of Boko Haram in Nigeria, this was during the time when Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State under Obama, then later on John Kerry, both of these administrations, right? 1 and 2. They began to lament. Michelle Obama very famously held up a sign, bring back our girls, lamenting them. The reality of it is this was actually created by, the mess was created by the Democrats. Middle East Forum, written by Raymond Ibrahim on May the 15th, 2014. Now, the title of the article is Nigerian Sex Slaves Disrupt Obama Narrative on Islam. Back then, in May 2013, a year before the writing of this article, soon after Nigerian forces killed 30 Boko Haram members. They were already a problem back then. Reuters reported that, quote, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry issued a strongly worded statement to the Nigerian president saying, quote, we are deeply concerned by credible allegations that Nigerian security forces are committing gross human rights violations, which in turn only escalate the violence and fuel extremism from Boko Haram. In other words, you are violating Boko Haram's rights, human rights, by killing them. You're killing terrorists, therefore you're not fair. And perhaps this sheds more light on why, quote, repeated offers of the U.S. assistance regarding the kidnapped girls were ignored by Nigeria. In other words, once the girls were kidnapped, the Obama administration reached out and said, oh, will you let us help? But Nigeria basically said, no, we got it. We're good. We're good, son. Thanks. Until Kerry got on the phone, whatever that means. As for Kerry's predecessor, Hillary Clinton, who is now bemoaning the lot of the kidnapped girls in Nigeria, saying it's abominable, it's criminal, it's an act of terrorism, it really merits the fullest response possible, yada, yada, yada. He doesn't say yada, I said that. When she was Secretary of State and in a position to help offer the fullest response possible, Clinton repeatedly refused to designate Boko Haram as a foreign terrorist organization, despite the countless atrocities it had already committed, despite the fact that it had boasted it would strike fear into the Christians of the power of Islam by kidnapping their women, as it just has, and despite urging from the CIA, FBI, Justice Department, and several congressmen and senators. They refused to allow, at that time, the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, who was the president of Nigeria at the time, to designate Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. They ran interference for Boko Haram back in 2013, the same way they're running interference for Hamas right now.
Truth to Power Live with Jimmy Study Washington.